it's Erin, and welcome back to EatMoveRest. So today I'm going to be sharing with you guys my favorite green juice recipe. This recipe is great if you're feeling under the weather as a cold and flu balm. It's detoxifying, cleansing, alkalizing, and it tastes incredible. So let's get started. For this recipe, you will need the following ingredients. And keep in mind, I'm making this for two so that Dusty and I can both get our green on. You will need 1 head of romaine, 3 to 4 stalks of celery, about 6 to 7 leaves of lawson otto kale. You can also substitute curly kale. 2 to 3 cucumbers, 1 lemon, a big thumb of ginger, a big chunk of turmeric, and then optional herbs could be cilantro and or parsley. So let's get started. The first thing that you're gonna need is a juicer, and if you don't have one but you're in the market for one, I highly recommend getting a masticating juicer, also known as a cold press juicer, because it does less damage to your greens, it keeps more of the vital enzymes and nutrients intact, and it's just gonna press out and squeeze out as much juice, so it's gonna give you more bang for your buck. Here I've got my EatMoveRest juicer, and also I'll put a link below to a previous blog post that I did about juicing and blending, and you can also find this green juice recipe there. So the first step is going to be to get out a cutting board and a sharp knife and chop some of your leafy greens into smaller pieces so that they don't clog up your blender. And I like to do my juicing in a specific order so that everything kind of flows out smoothly. I'll start with the kale, and then I'll move on to the romaine, then the celery, and throw in a little bit of ginger and turmeric, and then I like to end with the cucumber because it's the most water dense, and it just kind of helps to flush and push everything out of your juicer. So again, you can get the most bang for your buck. And then the lemon, I don't actually juice because it kind of tends to get clogged up in there. So what I'll do is I'll just cut it in half and use my citrus press, which you'll see here in a minute, to kind of juice that into the finished product and then stir it in. So let's get started. So the first thing we're gonna do is cut our lawson otto kale into smaller portions before we start to put it into the juicer, and that'll help eliminate any clogging, like I said. And kale is really great because it's high in vitamin K, which is something that's kind of hard for us to get a lot of. I like to start with the kale because it's a little bit less water dense and it's really fibrous. So if I start with the kale and then start to add in some of those juicier veggies at the end, it'll help to flush all of that through the system. Next up, we'll add in the celery. Celery is a fantastic source of natural sodium. So if you're trying to cut down on your salt intake, but you still want that saltiness, celery is great for that. Moving on to romaine. Romaine is a little bit more water dense than the kale, and it's got kind of a sweetness to it that you'll really start to notice. There's also all kinds of things that you can do with your leftover pulp. If you get online, there's tons of different baked good recipes you can use depending on which type of juice you're making. If you're doing something with carrots and beets, it's a little bit easier. You can make vegan muffins with them and all kinds of things. With greens, your best bet might be to just compost it, but again, if you do a quick Google search, you can find all kinds of ways to use every last bit of your pulp. And you can see, like I said, the masticating juicer does a really fantastic job of squeezing out every last bit of liquid. Next up, we've got our fresh herbs. I've got a little bit of parsley and a little bit of cilantro. Herbs are really great because they're a lot more nutrient dense than just your regular leafy greens. So I always try to add in fresh herbs, whether it be a green juice, sometimes to my green smoothies, and for sure on a green salad. Now we've got our cucumbers. And before I put in the cucumber, I like to throw in ginger and sometimes turmeric as well. Sometimes it can be hard to find fresh turmeric root. If you can't find it fresh, you can always sprinkle in a little bit of dried turmeric at the end as an option. I'm just going to add in about that much turmeric. And then the same, I'll probably add about twice as much ginger. So I've got about 3 thumbs of ginger here. And ginger is really, really spicy if you're not used to eating it. You kind of have to work your way up. It's definitely an acquired taste, but I really love fresh ginger because it's a fantastic anti-inflammatory and it's also awesome for your digestion. And then turmeric. Turmeric is also another great anti-inflammatory and it has lots and lots of anti-cancer benefits as well. So we're going to toss in some of that. And I recommend removing the skin if you're not purchasing organic turmeric or ginger root. But if it is organic, all you have to do is give it a quick scrub and you should be fine leaving the skin on. Now our final flush is going to be with our cucumber because they're the most water dense of all of our greens. So the last step is optional, but this is something I prefer to do is I use my mesh strainer and I strain off every last bit of pulp that's remaining in my green juice, and I just do that over a bowl like this. So quick side note, we definitely want more fiber in our diets. Fiber is incredibly good for your digestion, but in the case of juicing, you don't want the fiber because it's going to give you a straight shot to your bloodstream of condensed phytonutrients to feed your cells. So now I've got 2 servings of my favorite go-to cleansing, detoxifying, alkalizing, flu and cold balm green juice. Ready for the final test? Delicious. It's got a little kick to it, but it's really good. Dusty and I just tend to use juicing more for medicinal purposes, and what I mean by that is that when Mother Nature is your doctor, then food is your medicine. And I don't just mean any food, I mean plants. When you're eating plant-based, juicing is a form of medicine. There's so many different recipes out there, no matter what your ailment is. If you want more information, more recipes on juicing, hit up the like button below, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments below what kind of juice recipes you're interested in. Be sure to, like I said, check out the description box below. I'll have a link to my blog post on buying your first juicer, on this whole recipe, and tons more of tips, tricks, and tools that you can use in the kitchen, in the gym, and for rest and relaxation. If you guys want to follow Dusty and I on social media, you can find us on Instagram, Pinterest, Snapchat, Twitter, You name it, we're all there at Erin Stanzik and at DB Stanzik. Until next time, I hope you guys enjoy eating, moving, and resting your best. Cheers. I tend to use juicing just for more medicinal purposes. We tend to look at it more as just using it for medicinal purposes. We tend to use juicing just more for medicinal What in the heck?